Erin has a sick child, so she's at
turn
home
it
this
on.
week.
Lately, everything on my computer has been sounding low. I'm using external speakers. I don't know why.
Should I talk louder?
Yeah, I need to get this one figured out. It's weird. Let me just see here if it's.
That sounds louder.
Yeah, old age catching up with me, I guess. Can't hear nothing no more.
All righty. Just in the middle of the little spot block here, a couple more commercials.
No worries. No worries.
So, yeah. So we got a couple of good topics. Press conference this afternoon. He's at home this week.
Where's Erin? She's in vacation.
One of her kids is not feeling well.
Aww.
So she's just keeping him out of school anyway, because there's a lot of COVID going down in her kid's school right now. So
yeah,
it's like, I'm just going to keep him home.
Precautions, I gotcha.
Yeah. So she's actually Skyping in. So she is on the show. She just can't do both of you at the same time on the computer.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Got one more after this one.
No worries.
Have you been teasing anything on your program?
I always
new coming up.
Yeah, I always put on the. I always try to schedule in advance so people kind of know what we're talking about.
No, I don't mean that. I just mean what's happening maybe in the future.
Oh yes. They know. They know it's coming.
Oh, they do.
Yeah, no real details yet, but they know it's coming.
Oh, okay.
So we're excited. Yes.
Okay. Very cool. Lots of work going on behind the scenes.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Blake is a very busy boy these days.
Yeah, we've got. I'm excited because I want to do like a proper teaser. But did Dan speak to you about that? I want to know if he's call numbers or anything up yet.
He said that he kind of gave you the go ahead to tease it. So I don't know what those.
Oh, I'll send you. I'll send you what the question is.
Huh?
Because I've been teasing it, but I want to know if I can give a bit more info. That was the question to him.
Well, what information have you given so far?
Like the frequency and if we had a logo or anything yet or anything like that.
We do have a logo. I've been working on that behind the scenes.
Okay.
So, all right. So
I'll
stand by.
But yeah.
Okay.
Big news. I have some important news for you. Interesting news.
It's Blake and Aaron's Spilling the Tea with Sandy.
K-Man's top news headlines of the day from CMR.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, Blake. How are you?
Doing very well. We are good. And we've got a press conference this afternoon.
Yes, at 3:00. So everybody can tune in. We'll be live streaming it.
What do you think is going to go down today in the press conference?
Some information about phase 5.
Okay.
We're going to move a little bit closer. I suspect an announcement about those children. That's like the $1 million question. Premier was on last night with Premier Access, and he always gets asked that question. What about the kids?
Oh, yes. So that's right. You do the Wednesday thing every 2 hours Wednesday with the Premier. Last night you had it on. What did you find out?
Well, he said tune in today to the press conference. So I think a change is coming. A change is imminent. I think if there was no change, he'd probably say, we're going to hold our position. So I think there's going to be a hybrid. I don't know if it's going to be wide open, but I do believe there'll be something of a hybrid nature that will make it easier for parents to travel with children. So,
well, certainly vaccinated parents.
Yes. Oh yeah. I mean, listen, yeah. You gotta be vaccinated to get some of the benefits right now. It is what it is. Speaking of vaccination, did you hear about this Czechoslovakian singer who died after catching COVID intentionally?
Here or in Czechoslovakia?
Czechoslovakia, yeah.
No.
Her name is Hannah Horka, 57 years old, unvaccinated. And she actually posted on social media that she wanted to catch, COVID on purpose so that she could get a recovery pass to access certain venues to be able to perform.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, she had posted up on her social media page that she was recovering after testing positive, but she died 2 days later. So,
Wow.
yeah, she was a member of one of the oldest Czech folk groups called Asants.
Hmm.
And apparently, there in the Czech Republic, you can get proof of vaccination or a recent infection from the virus. And so she decided to go with that or option to gain entry into a lot of social and cultural venues, including cinemas, bars, etc. And unfortunately for her, that plan didn't quite work out.
Well, I mean, that's just a terrible idea, and also very sad.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So, and she got it from, both her son and her dad, who were both vaccinated, got the virus, and she thought, oh yeah, I'll just hang out with you guys to get it on purpose. And yeah, not a good plan.
Yeah.
No.
Clearly not. The hindsight is 2020
Yeah.
on that.
Yes. I don't know. Is it too early for a joke on that? Somebody's like, well, maybe in the next life she'll get it right.
Oh.
Yeah. We're social media fans. All right. So congratulations this morning to Dwight Randy Rankin. He's the newest Chief Designate Fire Officer for the Cayman Islands Fire Service. So this is an exclusive right here on 106 and CMR.
What happened to the old one?
He's actually leaving. CFO Paul Walker is leaving at the end of his contract in September.
Okay.
And you might remember for quite a number of years now, the previous chief, there was a bit of David Hales. There was a bit of issue with him being here for like 5 years, whatever, and never actually training anyone, a Caymanian that is, to take over his position. And it was a real controversial situation. So when Chief Fire Officer Paul Walker came on board, he was initially like on a 2-year contract to just train someone in the position. And then it was renewed. His contract was renewed, and people were like, hold on again. History's repeating itself. Well, we're happy to say congratulations this morning to Dwight Randy Rankin.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. So
well done, sir.
Yeah. Cayman Airways gets its 4th B737-8. Most of us remember this by its previous name, which was the MAX 8.
Yeah.
But it's undergone a bit of rebranding, obviously, because of, the history. But so they have the 4th one that's going to be delivered. I think it was actually delivered this week already. But anyway, this delivery, the actual plane will go into service next month. And so, yes, they've gotten it from the Boeing Delivery Center in Seattle, Washington. So this came out late last night, and we're happy to.
So there's 4 now. There's 4 new MAX 8s. Yeah. All the old ones are gone.
Yes. So we got.
And so does that mean that they're going to, start doing the other legs, like maybe to Denver now, or open up back to Chicago and whatnot?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
So the plane arrives this afternoon.
Oh, cool.
But yes, I would certainly hope that is the case.
That's a long flight from Seattle to Grand Cayman.
Yeah. I'm sure people will be tracking it on the flight tracker. People love to do that.
I love to do that. I'll be doing that.
You'll be doing that. Okay.
What time is it supposed to land?
After 3:00.
Okay.
So somewhere like 3:30ish.
Like when you track it, you kind of have to know what the flight number is. So any idea what that is?
No, but I can get it for you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, I'll ask.
Or I can just contact.
Didn't know you were a flight tracking kind of guy.
Somebody I know in the tower. Yeah, man. I'm an aviation enthusiast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
And a private pilot.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. I learned to fly here at the Cayman Flying Club.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So, final story of the day. There was a joint operation in West Bay. This is kind of an interesting situation, but they utilized the K9 unit, which is part of the Department of Environment. They went in with the police and the K9 unit, apologies. Mm-hmm. And they confiscated the drugs, obviously, that they were going for, as well as a number of dogs. So apparently, they had to first have DOA officers clear the yard of dogs. So this is someone who clearly had a certain type of dog, I'm sure.
Mhm.
They're acting as security. So the DOA officers had to assist the police in gaining access to the premise. They cleared the dogs out and brought in their own canine unit. And the man was hiding out. 38-year-old man of West Bay was hiding in the shed of the residence. And of course, the canine unit assisted in finding both the drugs, ganja, and a number of other drug-related paraphernalia. And they found the man hiding in the shed as well. So he's been taken into custody and remains in custody pending further investigation. So they're going to probably charge him with intent to supply, possession of drug utensils, and other drug-related offenses.
They should start filming that stuff and and make it available, like like a
That
cops
would be so cool. Yeah,
type TV show. Give CMR the exclusive video on that.
we would love it.
Anyway,
I think that's a fantastic idea. There used to be, I know Kevin Watler, who's done some stuff on the show before. He used to do a drive along sometimes when he was over at Cayman 27. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe the commission would think about it.
I've done a drive along before, not here, but it's pretty intense. That's really intense. Yeah.
I bet you'd probably sit for a long time. Well, I don't know if it wasn't here, you might have had more action, but here.
No, it was full on for, the 4 or 5 hours I did that. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't know that Cayman is that active.
including a high-speed chase.
Wow.
Yeah. That was I puckered a bit on that one because the speeds got pretty crazy. This was in Arizona where I used to live.
Oh, okay. So you make sure you really buckled in.
Yeah. Actually, was I buckled in? Yeah, I'm sure I was.
Yeah.
But
Awesome.
one hand on the camcorder, the other one holding on for dear life.
How long ago was that? How many years were you talking about?
Yeah, I probably did that around 2006 or 7.
Okay. Well, I'm sure a lot has changed now because imagine how easy your life would be with a GoPro.
For sure.
That heavy camcorder's out the door. Now you can just use a GoPro, catch the action.
Yeah, just put it on my head.
Yeah.
Put a band on and have it on my head.
Exactly.
All right. Catch
Thank
CMR now on YouTube and also later on today on Facebook and then catch the stream of the press conference today as well on CMR. And we'll see you tomorrow for the Friday show. We'll recap.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, you too.
All right, folks. So that's Blake and Aaron. Aaron's actually joining him by Zoom, but he can't do Zoom and me at the same time. So that's why we don't get to see her, but she's there. All right, let us play our intro song and music, which, by the way, we're going to be redoing here shortly. I'm mulling over ideas. Sorry. I need to grab my morning water. So if you have any ideas at all for the intro song, like what you'd like to hear for a little intro bed, do let me know. I'm totally curious. And then I have a question for you guys. I need everyone who is, if you think you're a doctor, I've got a medical quandary for you. And if you are actually a doctor, I would probably value your opinion more than someone who pretends to be a doctor on Facebook. But I'm going to tell you the situation after this, and I hope I can get some advice as to what maybe is going on. It's weird.
You're now tuned in to the Cold Hard Truth, Cayman's #1 hard-hitting live podcast show, where we feature some straightforward conversations on political, social, and celebrity news and all things happening in the Cayman Islands and around the world. This show was created to give the people a voice and a means of being involved and informed without any filters. Sometimes it gets crazy, but we always keep it real. We bring you the tea, piping hot, so grab your favorite beverage and join the conversation via WhatsApp at 324-1612. Email tips at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Now, here's your host, Sandy Hill, broadcasting live from the beautiful Cayman Islands.
All right, folks. Good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias. I need to give away some gift certificates, Burger King and Popeyes. I always have them here, and I totally forget to give them away. Time for somebody to have lunch on CMR, the Cold Hard Truth, and more importantly, Burger King and Popeyes. Now, y'all be loving y'all some Popeyes. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. Every time I give people a choice, they're like, yeah, I'll take the fried chicken over the burger any day. Ah, man, I tell you. All right, so listen, something miraculous happened this morning. I wonder, maybe this will be the trivia question. What do you think happened to me this morning? That's a bit of a loaded question. First of all, I just grabbed my water. I feel like I need some real food this morning. Like, I feel like water is not going to be enough. My energy is like a little bit low. I feel like, I should probably get the bar stool and sit down this morning as opposed to standing up. Virtuous, Miss Vernita, good morning. Good morning, Marshall, Diamond Princess. What do you guys think happened this morning? Think long and hard about the history of the morning show, and you'll get it without a doubt. Grab yourself a gift certificate. Let me clean my glasses in the meantime, then I'll turn my camera back on. These glasses can get so dirty. Do anybody else wear glasses here? Am I the only person? I used to wear glasses before and then I got LASIK surgery. Am I the only person who thinks about this? I'm like, as dirty as my glasses get with all this like lint and dust, and it almost acts as a filter for your eyes. Does that mean that when you're not wearing glasses, all that stuff is actually going in your eyes? I know your eyelashes help to filter some of that out, right? And it's really, really important that you actually wash your eyelasses as part of your facial routine. You gotta just, the best thing to use is actually baby shampoo or baby wash, because that's hyperallergenic and tear-free and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, lather up your eyelashes and really get in there good, because there are little microscopic critters that live in your eyelashes. Not a pleasant thing at all, but trust me, they're there whether we want them to be there or not. They're all over our body. And so yeah, get in there good and wash them, irrigate, and then use a nice hot, I have to use very hot compression and put on my eyes, because I forget what the heck it's called, something with like causes me to have like dry burning eyes. And so the ophthalmologist, yes, said that if I use that hot compress mornings and night for like 10 minutes or so, that really seems to help a lot. It really does work. All right, Emma, Irvlin, Miss Alice, Wee, Janice, John Levy is here. Jared's got it locked. Aliano. He gave us the registration code. I'll send that to Blake. I actually had that code, but I wasn't sure if he needed like the flight number or just the code of the vessel was enough. That's Cayman Airways getting a new plane this afternoon. So I'll send that to Blake and WhatsApp. All right, folks. So what do you think happened this morning? Somebody's guessing on WhatsApp. They said, did you get a dizzy spell or feel as if you will faint, or your leg or tetanus elbow giving you pain? No. That's always in pain, but no. And in fact, I went to acupuncture yesterday, and this is where I need some of your advice on something that happened. I feel like the acupuncture is working on the elbow. Like, it's feeling better today. But when something starts to feel better, you actually have to remember that it's a problem, and you have to remember to still stretch it, and because those things are important. That's why you got in this situation. That's why I got a tennis elbow pain, because I wasn't stretching that muscle. Larry joining us from New York. Good morning. Chantel, we got Missy in the house. Dale is here. Irvlin, Siobhan, you got up. Well, thank the Lord for that. I get up every morning. Marshall, that's not what happened this morning. I mean, something different, something exciting, something that had me like clapping like a little kid. I was like, oh my God. Tea bags. Oh, on your eyes. No, I will not be having any Popeyes. I must admit, though, once in a while, I love me just one chicken leg. That's all I need. I don't need anything else. And I don't eat chicken skin. So I'll cook with it and then I take it off before I eat it. So I know a lot of people are like, oh, take the skin off. Sometimes you need the skin to kind of add a little bit of seasoning in there. Corrine, thank you for reminding me. I did not remember that, actually. Girl, are you out of quarantine yet? What's your status? Everybody's getting COVID, folks. It's no longer anything to be like, oh my God, I can't tell anybody. People are now getting COVID more than once. Richard, good morning. Good morning, Asheri. How are you? I woke up super hungry. Well, that is true, but that's not what I'm talking about. But yeah, I'm feeling a little bit hungry this morning. I was looking at the bagel and thinking, oh man, I could do a bagel. And I thought, no nutritional value, empty calories, carbs first thing in the morning. I guess I'll settle for an apple. The bagel would probably taste so much better, right? With cream cheese, of course. Confirmation of your radio premiere. No, I don't have a date yet. I got some money, I wish. Tell me where that piggy bank is. No. Okay, let me narrow it down. If you paid attention to the election, there was something that we were always excited about during the election cycle. And we've not gotten excited about it in a while. So now really, listen, if you ever paid attention, you know exactly what it is now. You guys can get this. I don't need to give you another hint. You know what this is. Let me just send this to Blake real quick. All right, so let me see now. Anybody? I'm looking. Aha! Jonathan, got it. Good for you, Jonathan. YouTuber finally wins something. We got almost 50 people on YouTube, 44 people. Yes, I saw the agouti. Corrine says, go make a smoothie for breakfast. Smoothies take time to make, child. You got to have all the ingredients, too. I'm going to tell you something about a smoothie here in a second. But Jonathan, congratulations. You are a winner. Yes, I saw him. You know what? I think he's been getting up earlier. They seem to have different times. Like, I don't know what be going on with their schedules. But he or she was up early this morning. And so normally when I'm rushing to like get the baby ready and out the door and making sure she brushes her teeth and putting on her shoes and we got our morning breakfast. So this morning she said she felt like oatmeal. So I said, perfect. And because I was going to give her an apple and I think she's kind of tired of apples. Like most mornings it's apple or fruit. So she's like, oh, I feel like oatmeal this morning. I'm like, what? Because we are, for her especially, on a no sweets kick because she went to the dentist and it was like, ooh, we need to shape up the diet because it's really, your diet impacts even your teeth. So I said to her, yep, no more sweets. And you know what? Kids are amazing. They learn so quickly. So yesterday, she's like, oh, I would like to have a lollipop right now. And I was like, no. And so I've pulled all the chocolate out of the fridge. You guys know I'm a chocoholic. And I'm going to donate it to the kid across the street. That's what I told her. And she said to me yesterday, are you still going to give that to her? And she's looking at the stack of stuff on the counter. I was like, don't worry. I'm going to take care of it. Yeah, I can't have that. So we went to Subway a couple of days ago. She's like, I can't have any cookie or juice, right, Mom? And I said, that's right. She's getting the message. You just got to be consistent with kids. I feel like if you fall off the wagon, they know they got you. Jonathan, congratulations. WhatsApp me to collect your gift certificate. But yeah, so I came in the studio for something. I don't know what I was looking for in here. Oh, Kevin Watler, thank you for paying attention. Kevin actually noticed that I had the wrong time for the show. And this person says, another PPM member went to the government laughing out loud. I'm trying to win my Popeyes. That is so funny though. So listen, yeah, so anyway, I I came in and I looked out the window. Now, here's the thing. I think part of the issue is for the last couple months, we actually added window treatment, like blinds, the little, what you call the plantation shutters, right? So I can still see out the window and I can reach it and open it up and whatever. But it does obstruct my view a little bit. So I don't have as free of a view. So I do feel like sometimes maybe they go by the window and I'm just not seeing them because I have more of a disruptive thing in my peripheral vision, right? So this morning I come in the studio and I look out and I saw him, I can tell the neighbor, I saw him in her yard. He is huge now. He's like this big. I tell you no lie. I was like, oh my God, he looks like a big fat cat. And there he was taking his time going across her lawn. And then he started to book it a little bit towards the end and go over to little bushes or something over in those bushes that they must like to eat. I don't know if it's a plant, if it's just because it's still a big overgrown area. They like to go foraging in there, but that's where they always go. And then a little while later, he's going to come back. And I haven't seen him in months. I was wondering, what happened? Were they hibernating? Were they having babies? Sometimes they get killed. A car runs them over, unfortunately. But I hadn't seen any dead ones. So I was like, what's going on? Huge. That agouti has been living a good life. How long do they live for? I feel like they can live for a while. I think we've looked this up before. So anyway, yeah, he was, and I called my daughter. I had enough time to call her and she ran over and she got to see his last little, like skipping across the way. I was like, wow, it has literally been months that I've not seen an agouti. I was so excited. Jonathan, I'm so excited. And whenever I talk about this agouti, I've got certain people, like cousins and stuff from East End who be like, where are you seeing him again? And I said, don't even think about it. They want to come and catch him and eat him. I'm like, no. Don't even think about it. Leave that poor agouti alone. Good morning, Felicia. Morning, Tracy. Emma says probably a she that had babies. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, I don't know how to tell the difference, especially from a distance. But it could be a female. And yes, I don't normally see them together too much in pairs. But when we first moved into the neighborhood, every single evening, like clockwork, like you could just set the time right after 6 o'clock as the sun was, starting to go down a little bit, they would come through our backyard. So they were still using us as a pathway because there was nobody here for a long time. And then after we started doing stuff, whatever, now we have gates and decorative fencing and all kind of stuff. So it's probably not as easy to traverse our property, but they would cross through because there were the bushes right behind us until some construction went on. But yeah, they would walk through every single day, walk over there, forage in the evenings, and then go back. So it's like at least twice a day trip that they do it. So Jonathan, link me for your gift certificate on What's Up. All right, so let me tell you what happened yesterday that was a little bit weird. And then you can tell me what you think, right? So I went to my acupuncture appointment. I think I told you guys this. I was going to acupuncture, yes. And, acupuncture it's not going to normally work like the first time. You normally have to go, especially if you haven't been for a while. You need to go for a couple sessions. But I'm telling you, like this morning, my tennis elbow is feeling a lot better. So, I go in, I talk to her, and she's like, okay, we'll focus on certain areas. How was your week? How did you sleep? She kind of gets an idea of where she needs to needle me up. And of course, because the left side has been very problematic for a minute now, she is going and doing a lot of needling on that side. So she actually puts needles in my head. So I tend to get one at the top of my head. So she said, oh, today, why don't we flip you over? And of course, I didn't eat yesterday. The appointment was at noon. And I was rushing to get to her. And so I grabbed a smoothie on the way, right? And I thought, okay, you're supposed to eat before you go to acupuncture because this type of acupuncture can actually make you like lightheaded and that kind of stuff. So you gotta be really, really careful, right? So I had a smoothie on the way. Okay. By the way, shout out to Bluestone Lane Cafe. Jason there makes a smoothie that is like to die for. I think it's actually just like peanut butter, banana, and something else, but it's like really filling. So it's a meal replacement. Like when I eat that, I notice it cuts my appetite like major, right? So anyway, that's what I had yesterday. And when I got there, it still hadn't like fully digested. So when I was laying in my stomach, I was like, I can't stay in my stomach as long as I'd like to, because I feel like I need to drink water and, So yeah, so I'm there, and she puts in the needle. She put one in the head, one in the base of the neck. Like I had a lot of needles in me, all over the arm, obviously the elbow. She puts like one in here for my hand. She does my feet. She does, I think, one close to the knee, the leg, like all over. I have a lot of needles in. And so I'm sitting there, I'm lying there in my stomach, and she puts a heat lamp on my back. She says, let me know if it's uncomfortable, if I need to adjust it. I said, no problem, we're good. So then I said, I think I need to turn over, because I really feel like the smoothie hasn't properly digested, and God knows. The last thing you want to do in a chiropractor or anybody's office is to throw up, right? So I was like, let me turn over, let me get some water. So I drank some water. She had to take all the needles out, and then I flipped over, and she had to put them back in. So she came and put a few back in, not as many, but a few in. And then she put the heat lamp. This is where I need your advice. She put the heat lamp on my feet. And she's done this before, and I've had an episode, right? So here's what happened. She put the heat lamp on my feet, and probably about 10 minutes later, I started to get this intense, like, itching on my foot. So it's like the ball of the foot and in the toe region. It started with the left foot, and it just started itching really, really intensely. And I was like, oh my God, you got to take this heat off. And for like the next at least solid hour, I went to the pharmacist. I got some kind of Voltaren, like rub or whatever, to put on it to try and numb the area. Like, it was very, very, very uncomfortable. And this is the second time. It happened a couple of years ago as well, where she put the light on my feet. And I wasn't sure if it was like just a coincidence. But when it happened yesterday, I'm like, okay, the heat of that light on my feet is causing, it's almost like, I don't know if I have nerve damage in that area of the foot, and it just makes it red and inflamed and uncomfortable. But it's like a really, really itchy, needly feeling. Now, you guys know I have an issue with my feet where I have to always use like a foot massager and stuff, because I put a lot of pressure when I walk. I'm a heavy walker, like flat-footed is what Kim Randons would say, right? So that puts a lot of pressure on the ball of my foot anyway. And so there are times that I will have like tingling and needling and like pain radiating in that general area. But this sensation is like a little bit different. It's almost like a unbearable like itchiness that the heat has brought on. It's so weird that the heat does it. So anyway, last night I was up 2:30 in the morning, because then the right foot started doing the exact same thing. I was like, Jesus, couldn't you start earlier in the day? Now that I'm trying to sleep. So I don't know, Maria, not yet. I say that with a degree of caution because, I do have family members who are diabetic. So I don't feel like it's anything related to that directly. But I either have, I don't know what heat does to like the foot nerves, or because I actually hear that heat can help people who have nerve damage, who have neuropathy in the feet and that sort of thing. Because I think I might have a little bit of like non-specific neuropathy in my feet, but the heat for me doesn't help. It like makes it worse. So I had pulled out my cooling pad, the ice pack. I was putting that on. I was putting all kind of creams on last night. It is uncomfortable, but I was wondering if that's ever happened to anybody. It's just very, very weird. And so now I know without a doubt that heat lamp is too intense. Whatever the situation is, it's too intense for my feet. So I'm not going to do that again. And, it just feels like my feet are itchy and on fire right now, but it's like in the toe region. And of course, me, I'm like such a germaphobe. The first thing I'm like, oh my God, what if I have, what's that fungal thing that you get on your foot? Sometimes, what's it called? Foot, athlete's foot. I'm like, oh my God, what if I have athlete's foot and I only get it when you put heat on it? That's so illogical. But that's how your brain thinks when you have a little bit of OCD. You're like, germs might be on my feet. And maybe the heat's like trying to kill the germs. And it's, I don't know. It's just weird. So now I'm like, oh, do I run out and buy a whole thing of like, what do you put on athlete's foot? I don't know, whatever you put on. But I try to wear, because I have to wear shoes all the time, even in my house because of my Achilles heel. So I have to wear like a house slipper and it has a little bit of heel on it. I only wear them inside, so they're specifically house slippers, but I put them out in the sun because they're like that leathery material, whatever. So I have a couple of different pairs. I sun them to make sure that, they're getting good sun, because literally as I get out of the shower and whatever, I put them back on. So just to kill any germs, I change them every once in a while. My husband's always like, oh, you're buying new slippers again? I'm like, honey, you can't wear the same shoe. First of all, you should never wear the same shoe, like regular shoes, twice in the same day. Did you know that? Because your feet do sweat and the shoes retain that sweat. So you always change out your shoes. Y'all men be like, no, put on the same shoe today that you had on yesterday. I'm like, no. So he thinks it's more of I just like shoes. Okay, I'll admit it. Maybe I do like shoes because I have a few pairs. But at the same time, there's a logical reason why a woman nobody should wear the same shoe twice. Anyway, it's a bit of a weird situation. So my friend had the same problem. Oh, yeah, I'm kind of, I've had foot issues for my entire life. So I think I kind of have an issue anyway. But yeah, diabetes is a very serious thing. And definitely feet issues is one of the things that diabetics tend to always have. That is a fact. But I'm probably due for my annual, we know we're doing the 50 by 50 program. So we're going to be doing like a complete checkup over at Total Health once we kick that off. So I'm due for like all of my blood work and everything. So I'm going to get all that done, check my A1C numbers, and got to start being consistent with the exercising. So somebody said on WhatsApp, they thought that the big news was that I had reached my goal weight. Shoplifters, I'm nowhere close to losing the 50 pounds yet. I mean, I haven't really started. I'm going to get there. We're going to do this. All right. So yeah, it was just weird. And I don't know what it is about the heat. Like, I feel like I want to call Dr. Anthony because he's the foot expert and he might have an explanation for what this is. Okay. All right. So congratulations. Let's move on. Good morning, Senor Don. How are you? Don is so busy these days, hardly see him anymore. All right. Let's talk about a few things. Let me pull up some pictures here for discussion. Let me see here. Oh, we got some court news for y'all. All right. Let's talk about it. So, congratulations to Chief Designate of the Cayman Islands Fire Service. So he's going to be the chief. I don't know why they're using the term designate. Does that mean that not yet 100% confirmed? He gets to be put on probation for a minute. I don't know. But listen, his name is, let me look it up because I don't actually know him. But his name is Dwight Randy Rankin. I think most of you know him as Randy from what I've heard. And so congratulations. There's never an appointment in the civil service without some controversy, y'all. Trust me when I tell you this. And in fact, in the fire service, there is always controversy. Phew. They've been having issues over there for a hot minute. And I don't know that it's getting any closer to a proper resolution. But anyway, folks, we'll see how that goes under the new Caymanian leadership. The weird thing about this, and this is what I've been told, right? So, of course, in our stories, we put the official stuff and then we're going to give you the non-official stuff. So this was a CMR exclusive, by the way. There's been no government release yet, but y'all know we know the news as it happens. And so Dwight Randy Rankin, I'm told he owns the station bar. That's him. He's going to replace Chief Fire Officer Paul Walker when his contract ends, I think at the end of August or September, right? So our exclusive sources have indicated that Randy, who's been with the service some I think just about 30 years, close to 30 years, if not 30 years by now, is going to take over the position. So there were other people who were deputy officers who were actually being trained to take over the position, but they're not the ones who got it. So there were 3 other long-serving Caymanians, Brevin Elliott, Roy Charlton, and Tina Ebanks, who I swear that it was said back in 2019 or so, when there was this big to-do about it, that they would be, it would be one of them. So I don't know what happened there. I don't know how to explain it to you. Did they all apply? I don't know. So anyway, A. Caymanian got it. I think he must be well qualified for the position. So all I can say is congrats. I don't know what the backstory is in terms of why they didn't get it. I can't speak too much to that. Some people said, oh, but he never was a deputy. So how does he go from a divisional manager? But you know what? Do you have to go through every position? Like, this is a question for you guys. When you're in a company, do you have to go through every position to get to the top? Or is it possible to get to the top and skip a rank or whatever? Like, I don't know. Like, he went from divisional manager, from being a substation, what do they call it? A service, hold on now, let me tell you what the correct term is. So he went from being a sub officer, whatever that is, to a divisional manager, and he was never a station officer. So apparently it's like sub officer, station officer, and then I guess divisional manager. So he skipped being a station officer, and he became a divisional manager. But I guess that happens. I mean, I don't know. I don't know that it's like you have to go through a certain ranking or whatever. Now, listen, I want to remind you guys of something here, right? So congratulations, Randy. Here's him with some of his colleagues. That's Mr. Tatum in the middle from Cayman Brack. I think he is the top brass over there in the Brack. And then the gentleman to his right, our left, is, hold on, let me see if I can remember his name. Oh Lord. Oh gosh, he was in this press release. What is his name? Help me out here, y'all. Whitman Tatum and Whitney Tatum. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, those are 2 brothers? No, I don't think those are 2 brothers. Is that somebody else? Who's the one on the other side of Mr. Rankin? Let me look at your comments. You're probably telling me his name, and I'm not even reading the comments. Let me see. Who knows who he is? Nobody knows? All right. Well, him. Sorry, young man. With the mustache. Is that another Tatum? They look like maybe that's the other Tatum. They're brothers. Whitman and Whitney, possible. Anyway, so listen, you guys remember, I'm going to jog your memory now. Let us take a trip down memory lane, because this is important, and you're going to see why this is important. And again, those of you who are proponents of the last government, you would know that they actually failed us in terms of, what is my computer doing this morning? They actually failed us a little bit in terms of, come on, computer. It's like moving really, really slow. They actually failed us in terms of the situation with getting this far, like getting a Caymanian fire chief appointed. So remember David Hales. Let's back it up now. We're going to talk about the history of this situation. For some reason, my Firefox is frozen. So let me see if I can close it out and reopen it. Yes, close program. Firefox is not playing nice this morning. So I tend to have Firefox open on one computer screen and then the other one. All right, here we go. So, so David Hales was a chief fire officer that we brought in here from the UK, gave him a nice contract and all that good stuff. And his remit was to train Caymanians to take over from him. Well, y'all know how that works, right? You bring some people in, they're having such a fantabulous time that they're not too minded to want to leave. Yes. I'm going to share the screen with y'all because I need y'all to remember what happened now. Okay. So back in the day, this was actually a story, believe it or not, that we ended up breaking way back then. And the irony of it, I must tell you, is that at the time, this would have been back in 2019, some of y'all were still questioning CMR and questioning our sources. No, this was even before then. Hold on, this was before. I'm going to say we first broke this story. Hold on, I'm gonna go way back here now. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second here. What ended up happening was, and you guys may not remember this, is why I'm reminding you, because I know how the little memory works now. We had a chief fire officer who was claiming overtime. Y'all remember this? Let me search for his name. Now, I've never heard of such a thing in my life. Someone in management getting paid overtime. Like, normally you're making such a good salary when you're at the management level that you're actually not entitled to any overtime. You might get time in lieu of, but you don't be getting no money. Seriously? I've never heard that before. But he finagled a good little paycheck for himself. So let me search for his name because I want to make sure I get this right. Because I know we did a story on this and we had all the documents to back it up. What was his first name again? David? David, yes. Let's narrow it down a bit here. So this is when we were saying sayonara to him. Look at her little cartoon. We have to start doing cartoons again. See you later, suckers. That's what they be saying to us, boy. Oh, yes, honey child. January 2019. Here we go. January the 30th, 2019. We were breaking news even back then. And y'all were like, oh, where did Sandy get this from? You know, even back then, the Compass was a little bit jealous. They did a whole editorial on this saying, well, the thing is, y'all shouldn't be worried about this. You should be questioning, how did CMR get these confidential documents? I was like, oh, you poor little Compass. Y'all are so ridiculous. Oh, you're like little kids over in the corner crying over spoiled milk, as Caymanians would say. Go sit down, cha. So, here he is, David Hales. All his overtime, 2016, 17, the man had been collecting overtime for donkey years. And he would like show up to a fire. Nobody invited him. He would just like legit show up to a fire and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to write that down as overtime. You weren't needed. Nobody told you to come. The fire officers and managers didn't need your quote unquote expertise. You just showed up, stood up there to look at the fire, and then you go write it down in your timesheet, talking foolishness about how you accrued overtime. Oh, honey child, please. I was just like, this is where y'all really and truly need to do better. Anyway, as usual, you know where people can pay it. And he had here, I mean, look at the stuff he's claiming for. 0.25. What was the reason for this one? Verification, 15 minutes early, finish, comp taken, comp paid. He went to Cayman Brack. The dude was, It was just ridiculous. Oh, we have the full report. Aw, mess with CMR. Yeah, boy, look, yeah. Yes, indeed. Except, we had the full report. His timesheets and everything. Yeah, boy. Even back in the day, we were getting all the goods. So, yeah, we got this report. What can I tell you? We got sources all over. And he was raking it out. Look at all this. In total, he had, oh, God, I'm trying to read that. 834 hours and something. So I think it worked out to be, did I ever say what the monetary amount was? It was a lot of money. Hold on. Oh, yes, cash payout of almost $50,000 for accrued comp time dating back to July 2016. So the second he got on island, he was here. Let me share the link so y'all can go read it. He was here accruing all kind of overtime. So when we brought this up, of course, they had some excuse about, oh yeah, we have to pay him for it, blah, 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 blah. He was leaving with an extra 50 grand in his hand. Wow, K-Man, this is a hot mess. Anyway, he had been here for a number of years, was supposed to have trained K-Manians to take over, didn't do that. Certain things started to come out about how unhappy the officers were about him and, some of the things that were going on. And so he didn't last too much longer after those stories started to come out. Fire has had a lot of issues. I really hope that Randy can give them the leadership that they need now and that they will embrace him and really try to get things done, in a positive way. Because 834.25 hours he accrued in overtime, and he was nickel and diming people, folks, 15-minute increments. At one point, he had up to 24 hours, claiming he was working 24 hours overtime straight. Yeah, and I've never heard this before. Yes, it was on the Tara Rivers, honey child, and under the leadership of Alden McLaughlin. So Alden came under, this is where I'm going with this story now. You guys might remember this a little bit. Alden came under a bit of scrutiny because this fire chief was leaving. No K-Manian was trained and ready to take up the role, so they claim. And then here they come bringing in another person from the UK, Mr. Walker. Now, I don't know anything about Mr. Walker. I'm sure he's a nice enough man and whatever. But that's really not the point. The point is, we should be in a position where we can hire our own into a lot of these top positions, right? And it simply hasn't been happening with fire service for a minute now. Now, they've had K-Manians in the leadership role before. So, I don't know what the issue is. But lately, it's been a tall order to fulfill. Anyway, it just was one of those things that they couldn't get it done. All right. So he promised, oh yeah, it's going to happen during my tenure. We're going to hire K-Manian in the position. Sure, Alden. He never fulfilled that promise to the people of the Cayman Islands. Only now. And let me be very clear. I'm more than cognizant of the fact that the hiring and firing of civil servants really has less to do with the political arm than it does the deputy governor, the chief officers, and that entire thing. But if the leadership of this country, aka the political arm, gives a mandate that says, listen, you hire a Caymanian. I don't want any more expats being recruited into his job. This guy came here 5 years to train a Caymanian, and you can't do that in 5 years? Well, of course you can't, or 3 years, or whatever amount of time he was here, because you're too busy accruing overtime. You're too busy showing up to a fire that you were not even invited to. You know what I'm saying? It's like, how can you focus on the training of Caymanians when you just randomly showing up and, oh yeah, what's the time in the clock? 15 minutes overtime. There was no plan. Because the second you got in, within 30 days, you should have had the ability, right, to recognize who are your top brass in the Cayman Islands Fire Service and contingency planning, who is going to then fill the position. Now, I was doing a little Google search here, and I came across the fact that the former head of the DPP complaining about misinformation. Oh, Lord. We'll talk about you another day. So after we put out the story about all this overtime that he had accrued, the most that the Compass could say about it, well, isn't that it's ridiculous that somebody's accruing all this overtime on the back of the Caymanian people, but it is that, oh, well, how did CMR get this information? An investigation needs to be open. I said, really? All right. Investigation needs to be open. Yes. An investigation needs to be open how we can be so stupid when we keep hiring people. And they come here, no succession planning. Y'all know what succession planning is? That's what I'm talking about here. You identify who has the potential. Maybe they don't have all the qualifications, but my God, after 25, 26 years on the force, if you've been there all that time and you don't have the qualifications for management, something is wrong. Experience, something. So if you need to send them off an additional training, if you need to polish them up a little bit, okay, you need this piece of paper, get the piece of paper. You know, this should have been in the works where at the end of the day, the fire service should have had their pick of like 4 or 5 fire guys. Because let me tell you something about fire officers. They do not leave the fire service. Right? Somebody says succession planning, that doesn't exist in Cayman. Yeah, when they show up in the fire service, those guys tend to make that a lifelong career. They love it. I don't know what it is about the job, but they stay. You find very few fire officers leave, and trust me, I've known a few at the West Bay Fire Station. They've been there for donkey years. That's one of those civil service jobs that honestly, they really, really stay in. They're not going nowhere. So you can't identify somebody who's been there 15, 20, 25 years and say, okay, we got 4 good candidates. Let's start training them up. Right? And then giving them additional training, whatever they need. That wasn't happening because you had people who had their own self-interest at heart and who were looking to have a bit of job security. So when it comes time to renew their contract, they go, ooh, yeah, we don't have a Caymanian who's qualified yet. What you been doing for the past 3, 4, or 5 years? What do you mean they're not qualified yet? What? So unfortunately, this has happened in more than one occasion. Look, yeah, because they were too busy rubbing shoulders with the politically elite and not caring about the mandate that they came here with. So, yeah, he left with a bag of money. Literally, a bag of money. So it's no joke, folks, when you see this cartoon that we had up. Let me take the picture down here. See what he says? Farewell. See you later, suckers. Look at that beautiful British Airways plane. Look, all the money falling out of the bag. This is my little cartoonist. I got to get her working again. Yep. See y'all later. Gone with my money. It's amazing how many people have come to the Cayman Islands. And they're supposed to be, I guess, retired. I don't know, from their other jobs. And they come here, and this is like their last stop before full retirement. And they can make so much money in just a number of years. They can build a retirement home in the UK. They can live the best life. I could go through a long list of names, including the former manager over the Cay's Foundation. And our own Caymanians can't get the benefit of being in some of the top positions within government. So when that didn't work out with David Hales and he left with his bag of money, then we brought in Chief Officer Walker. And once again, we're like, all right, here we go again. Y'all remember the job advert? It said, let me remind you of what it said. And then I'm going to remind you of what actually happened. Okay. Interim Chief Fire Officer for a period of 12 months. What's the date on this article? 2019. That's when they were advertising, because this one was all of a sudden leaving on Thursday, January 31st, 2019. Didn't give much notice. So then they're rushing to fill the position. And of course, they bring in some other guy from overseas yet again. By the way, look at this sentence. The UK national caused a lot of controversy at the time when he became the first non-Caymanian to hold the fire chief position in more than 50 years. So let me try and understand this conundrum here, right? This quagmire. Quagmire? Is that the word I'm looking for? We had leadership in this country that could fill a position for 50 years, and all of a sudden there's a vacuum. Again, big question mark. Succession planning. How does that even happen? To me, that's nonsensical. Anyway, then they go looking for an interim fire chief officer for 12 months. Well, we know what happened there, right? David Walker came in, bless his little heart. He doesn't get a 12-month contract. Didn't he get a 2-year contract? Which, I'm no mathematician, but isn't 2 years actually 24 months? I'm just saying. So we gave him a 2-year contract. And then it gets even better. Y'all don't want to believe some of this stuff. He gets his contract renewed. So I think Paul Walker, he originally came in on, maybe they did give him an initial 1-year contract and then they renewed it for further 2 years. So he's supposed to be leaving now in September of this year. So at the renewal part, this is when everybody's like, hold on a second. Pump the brakes. And he's a nice guy. I think I've met him a couple times. Seems like a really nice guy. That ain't the problem. They're all nice people. So in September of 2020, we hear that Chief Fire Officer Paul Walker, who had a year to find his replacement, all of a sudden, once again, I need more time. What really? What is it? What do you need more time for? You have, officers who've been there for donkey years, y'all. What is the problem exactly? Right? So not enough time. So he got his contract after Premier Alden McLaughlin refused to endorse the recruitment. This is what it says. More than 5 years, this is CNS, after Premier Alden McLaughlin refused to endorse the recruitment of a foreign fire chief at a Legislative Assembly finance meeting, the contract for the latest CFO recruited from the UK has been extended for another 2 years in the face of unfulfilled succession plan promises. 1-year contract renewed until September of 2022. Now, if y'all were paying attention 2 years ago, you would know that it was a big thing when that press release came out. Everybody was up in arms. Like, what? We can't fill this position yet? Why extend it for another 2 years? Why not just another 12 months? Oh no. Mm-mm-mm. So we recruited David Hales in 2016 from the UK. He came and stayed for 3 years, leaves with his bag of money. Then we brought in CFO Paul Walker, initially on an interim, you saw what it said, interim chief officer position for 12 months. That turns into a 3-year contract as well. Hales failed to fulfill that commitment, the commitment that he would put a succession plan in place. Everybody's wondering, well, why didn't we have a succession plan in place before that in any event? Our own Caymanians should have had a succession plan in place before they left. This is pure slackness. We should not have ever had a 6-year period of time without a Caymanian fire officer had this been done right. And so this is a failing on the previous Caymanian fire officer, as far as I'm concerned. Was that Mr. Nixon? Who was that? I can't remember who that was now. But that was also failing on him. Let's put the responsibility on the shoulders of where it should be placed. So we're not talking here, folks, just about the political arm having some degree of responsibility. The management of the civil service having some degree of responsibility, because they should have been asking, where is your succession plan? You're going to retire. Mr. Chief Officer Nixon and whoever the heck it was, you're going to be retiring. Can we see your succession plan 3 years before retirement, 5 years before retirement, something? What is that saying about failing to plan and planning to fail? It sounds simple, but yet it appears to be incredibly complicated because it simply doesn't get done. And when it doesn't get done, it leaves the rest of us scratching our heads and asking a lot of questions, really, quite frankly. Somebody sent me something the other day, a quote. I'm going to find it and share it with you because I think it's very appropriate to this conversation. So finally, we have Mr. Randy in the position. Congratulations. It is a little bit confusing how others thought that they were being trained up to take the position, and then they're not the ones who got it. But hey, if it's an open recruitment and that Randy doesn't have aerodrome experience, should the chief fire officer have an experience in every area? Well, he at least should have knowledge of how it all works. And I'm assuming that that's what Randy has. I mean, like I said, I haven't seen his CV, but I'm assuming he might not have aerodrome experience, but he has some knowledge of, because the aerodrome arm of it is really, really important. There's a reason why the fire service is right next to the airport. And there's a reason why they have to have certain staff members on board in terms of, when a certain size plane is coming in, all that sort of stuff. So this is one of those unfulfilled promises that Alden was not able to keep. One of many, a long, long list. Now let me be very, very clear about something here when it comes to the fulfillment of jobs by Caymanians. Sometimes we are our own worst enemies. So we get put in certain positions and then we manage to screw it up. This is something that bothers me all the time, right? Yeah, we need Caymanians in this job and that job. I'm all for it. I'm here with the dialogue, but I'm also here for accountability, whether you're Caymanian or not. And it grieves me. I don't know if it's a little bit extra, but maybe in a way it does. It grieves me in a different kind of way when Caymanians get the opportunity and then they manage to screw it up. I'm just like, really? You're the same people that are proving all the other people right who say, Caymanians are not good managers. They're not good leaders. There's too much nepotism. There's too much favoritism. There is truth in some of those statements. Believe me, you. Whatever happened to Linda over in immigration? First female chief immigration officer. And then, my apologies, my sinuses all of a sudden are getting irritated. She disappears under a cloud of crazy stories. Did they finally pay her off to get rid of her? What about the head of the Department of Environment? What his name was again? Oh God, he ran for politics in Newlands. What was his name? Hold on now. Did we finally terminate his contract after having him on leave for like Roydell Carter, former DEH director? Overtime wastage, unexplained overtime, unexplained, garbage couldn't get picked up, just a hot mess. There's a lot of other examples that I could go through where Caymanians have made it to the top, especially in the civil service. Remember the whole bunch of supervisors over at immigration cheating on the English language tests? Of all things, a bunch of thieves. Common thieves is what they were. Taking advantage of the system. That was the biggest fraud case in the Cayman Islands. There were so many charges, so many defendants in that case. So, when people get into positions and then they screw it up, I got to tell you that I'm not really going to give them a pass. And I'm certainly not impressed when that happens. We need to hold ourselves to a higher standard than anybody else. Because they're only waiting for you to slip up, in case you didn't notice. Oh, my apologies. There we go, start up my sinuses. They're only waiting for you to do something stupid. Waiting and watching in the wings. And then go, see? That's why we can't hire Caymanians. Look at that. Look at them fools. We need to bring in someone from the UK to tell you what to do now. They're going to sort you out. Judy says, how has the fire service adapted to all those 10-story buildings? Well, I'm guessing that they have ladders that are taller and they've had to do additional training. But you know what? Mr. Randy, we'd like to invite you on the program once you get settled in a little bit. Come on the program and tell people what you're doing and what's going on over there at the fire service. There's a lot that happens, I feel like, in government. Mr. Franz Mederson has promised that he will come on. There's a lot that happens that we don't know. A lot of good things. And I'm like, let's highlight the good stuff. I ain't got a problem with highlighting the good stuff. If we don't know it, we don't know it. We can't talk about it. Toot your own horn. Come and tell the people what you've been up to. Good question, Judy. Good morning to the Honorable Kenneth Bryant. I'm going to take a break and try to go blow my nose, essentially. Magdalene says, don't happen within the civil service. All the Caymanian students that come back qualified can't get into the civil service because no one in government is paying attention to when the students are graduating and what their specialized area in. This is unfortunate because most of them are away on government scholarships. You go figure that out. What a hot mess. All right, let's take a quick message from Bobo and TD for your lateral flow test. As a matter of fact, let's do last night's news because some of y'all might have missed the news. So let's do a quick news recap and then I'll be right back in a jiffy. Give me 1 second here. My apologies. Sometimes as I'm talking, my sinuses just get very aggravated. This is loading up. 1 second here, folks. Let me read a few more comments. Sue, good morning. Magdalene says, who is tasked with this succession planning? Which chief officer and no one going home? Deep Blue Sea says, listen, when people come here, they fall in love with the good life, not us. All they got to do is to find the fool to kiss up to. Oh, yes. They start going to church with their fools, too. I told you all about the Case Foundation guy, right? He was a real chameleon. He would show up to church with you, hold your hands during church service, sing along in the praise segment. And he couldn't care about anybody else but himself and giving his wife a job. Who allows a manager of a government agency to hire their own spouse? Y'all need to go look at what's happening over at Case Foundation. He did that. And you have husbands and wives and boyfriends and girlfriends and side pieces and the non-side piece, they all working together. They're hiring each other and fornicating all over the place. What a mess. So Natasha says Randy does have air drone training and qualifications. Well then, congratulations. And Sherry Ann says they also have a specific manager for air drone who can advise him. Well then, there you have it. I ain't got no problem. I don't know who Randy is, but I ain't got no problem with Randy getting the job. He looks more than qualified as far as I'm concerned. All right, folks. Have a look at yesterday evening's news.
Dwight Randy Rankin has been promoted to the top brass position at the Cayman Islands Fire Service. This is Misha Allinger bringing you this latest CMR exclusive story. Rankin is slated to take over from CFO Paul Walker in September when his contract ends. The long-service fire officer has been with the service for almost 30 years and served as divisional manager for the past several years. In other breaking news this evening, Cayman Airways has taken delivery of its fourth B7378 aircraft from Boeing Delivery. The aircraft is scheduled to arrive in Grand Cayman tomorrow afternoon and should be ready for service in February. Cayman Airways President and CEO Fabian Worms said that the delivery of this brand new state-of-the-art Boeing B7378 will help to provide redundancy needed to deal with the unanticipated circumstances that often arise on the busiest days of travel. Minister for Planning, Agriculture, Housing and Infrastructure Honorable J. Ebanks shared that the new PAC government budget focuses on public services that will impact the day-to-day lives of the people of the Cayman Islands. Minister Ebanks spoke of the government's commitment to infrastructure improvements such as high-speed internet in the islands. The government has earmarked funds for a submarine cable modernization project to guarantee redundancy and strength for communications for the islands. He also highlighted the Northside Affordable Housing Project, Phase 2 of the Georgetown Revitalization Project, and the completion of the Scranton Community Park that people have been asking for decades. Canine dogs were instrumental in the capturing of a man and recovery of drugs in West Bay. In police news, the RCIPS confirmed that a joint operation was carried out in West Bay on Tuesday afternoon. Police, along with the Animal Welfare Unit, cleared multiple dogs in order to grant the police safe entry. The RCIPS Canine Unit assisted officers in locating and seizing several packages of ganja and drug paraphernalia. A 38-year-old man was found hiding in a shed and taken into police custody on suspicion of possession of ganja with intent to supply, possession of drug utensils, and other drug-related offenses. The governor's office has shared that recent comments made to the media about parking arrangements at the airport gave a misleading and an inaccurate picture. Whilst he stressed that curbside drop-off service might return, he also stressed that the long-standing traffic congestion issue must be addressed. He said it is incorrect to say the UK sought to impose the current solution on the airport. The governor and the UK regulator remain happy with the simple, low-cost solution originally proposed. The Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing on Crew Road is reminding anyone with temporary plates that this weekend they can replace them with permanent plates from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Customers are reminded that failure to replace temporary plates is a criminal offense with a fine of $2,500 or up to 6 months imprisonment. Work's Passport to Success program is inviting participants to apply for their next cohort starting on Monday, 7th February. Registration deadline is Friday, 21st January, and space is limited. Application forms are available at Works office at Apollo House West on Mary Street. For more information, call 649-8088 or email worc.training@gov.ky. In regional news, a 1-year-old child has died in Jamaica after her father, a police sergeant, went to work and forgot her in the vehicle. The father inadvertently went to work at the police station instead of taking the child to daycare. She was later found unconscious and pronounced dead at a hospital. It is said that the father and his co-workers have been left traumatized by the death. Meanwhile, in the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced that all measures introduced to combat the spread of the Omicron variant will end next week. Measures including mandatory mask wearing on public transport and in shops, as well as guidance to work from home and vaccine certificates, will come to an end. Children will no longer need to wear masks at secondary schools. The controversial move has not been supported by many teaching and health unions as well as public health representatives. A press conference will be held on Thursday afternoon at 3 p.m. The government will be discussing the way forward as the country inches closer to Phase 5 of the reopening. This is Misha Allinger. Thank you for watching and stay safe.
Thank you so much, Misha. She's been doing a fantastic job with the news, folks. Every evening you can catch it around 9 o'clock. We try to get it up. It takes a lot to get just even 10 minutes worth of news produced, but it's coming along. So make sure you check it out on our social media platforms, YouTube and Facebook. And then after that, we actually load it up to Instagram as well. So a few comments coming in what's up. So someone says succession planning that doesn't exist in Cayman. Look at the HSA. The departments are a joke. From ER and ambulance to pediatric ward, as a young qualified Caymanian that could take over, I'm leaving the island later this year because I'm over the politics and having to be friends with so-and-so to get any promotion. It's BS. Now that's a sad situation. Wow. Another comment says Caymanians are our own worst enemy. Lots have the mentality that if not from overseas, it's not great. We have lots of great, smart, qualified Caymanians overlooked because they are local. So unfortunate. Someone says, question, is the bar that Rankin owns one that Alden frequents? I don't know. Does Alden hang out at Station Bar? I think Alden hangs out at quite a few places. I mean, that may not mean anything because, it's got more than one bar of choice, I guess. Another comment says, Sandy, please remember that David was not even qualified or trained. That was Eric Bush who brought him in. I don't know. What a hot mess, Louis. You see the hot mess? Can we use cannabis, which is what it said? No, Louis. They're not using cannabis. They're using ganja. Pure and simple, which is still illegal in this jurisdiction. There's no quality to this stuff. You talking about something else. Yeah, I tell you. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Congratulations, Randy. Here's the quote that I was looking for earlier. An idiot with a plan can beat a genius without a plan. Warren Buffett. Wow. Truer words have never been spoken about being a idiot with a plan. Now notice it says can beat because the idiot might need more than just a plan, especially if they stole it from somebody else, because you know that happens a lot. But this is it, right? This is it. Succession planning. We'll be keeping an eye on the situation for sure, without a doubt. This little situation in Jamaica, I just want to briefly mention this. Oh, what a cutie patootie. This poor little child. 1-year-old. I can't imagine how that father feels. And I don't like to judge people in situations like this because many years ago, I actually watched a 60-minute segment. I, too, used to think How can somebody leave a child in a vehicle? How do you forget a child? To me, that's like kind of obvious. And then as it turns out, you have to know how the brain works to understand this phenomena. And so after seeing the science of it, I am a lot less judgmental about this, because as it turns out, there are a number of factors that play into this that will literally make your brain forget that you have a child. Number one, if you are not the parent who normally is in the routine of dealing with the child, you're more likely than not to leave a child in a vehicle and not remember it. So you're used to just driving to work. Your brain goes on autopilot. You drive to work, you get out of the car and you go inside, and you forgot that, oh, today I was supposed to take the baby because my wife was sick or something came up, or, it's not part of your normal routine. Also, the younger the child is, unfortunately, is another factor, because your brain hasn't yet reset a new routine. And so, again, for the past 20 years of your life, you have walked away from a vehicle and never thought about, oh, do I need to look in the back seat? More than 900 children have died in hot cars in the US since 1990, and this article was posted in 2019. So, of course, that number has gone up. We've had children here that this has happened to. That's why we were so upset the other day when we saw a baby being left in a car, because heat stroke can happen within minutes. Heat stroke deaths. Right? I even went as far as when I had my daughter, because I'm so paranoid about this, I bought one of those little devices that you attach to the car seat, and then you have like the other piece. And if you walk away from it, it'll beep you and remind you to go look for your child. I never even installed it because I was just so hyper paranoid child. I was always looking in the back seat and, So this is all about, there's actually a name for it. Listen to this. David Diamond, who's a professor of psychology at the University of South Florida. That's my alma mater, USF. Hail up. Worked closely with kidsandcars.org, and he focused on what's called cognitive neuroscience, including the neurobiology of forgotten baby syndrome. It is a thing. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad parent necessarily. It's a failure of the memory system. It's something called perspective memory. Like literally you just walk away because your brain is set on doing those routine items. And so it hasn't become a part of the father's habit. He's on autopilot. He just goes to work, get out of the car. Another thing is, the longer the drive, the worse the situation is, because the baby's been in there in the back sleeping. If the baby hasn't been fussy or done anything to kind of remind you that they're even there. It's a horrible, horrible situation. I mean, listen, 14% of parents say that they have left their child in a car. Now, there are those who do it on purpose. Those are not the ones that I'm talking about, where they're like, oh yeah, I got to go shoot up on drugs, or I got to go have a drink in the bar, or I'm going to go see my boyfriend. Just stay here, kiddo. I'll be back. That's a different situation. Those people I judge very, very harshly, because if they know the trouble that the kid could be getting into, they'd understand why they shouldn't do it. As a child gets a little bit older, like if you're standing outside the car and you're looking at the kid, oh, okay, the child's now, 6, 7 years old. Children have a way of getting out of car seats, putting cars in drive and, reverse and pressing buttons and all kind of stuff. So, it's really, really sad, right? Unbelievable situation. Our condolences. Such a cute little baby. My God. That's got to hurt as a parent. Oh my God. The guilt is just tremendous, I am sure. I hope he gets counseling. I never judge parents, says one viewer. I once left my son, a few months old, in his car seat, forgot to fasten the belt, drove off, and he slipped out. Oh my God. I almost died instantly. Thank God he was okay. My heart bleeds for the father. So sad. Wow. Yeah, that's tough. Ugh. Another viewer says new cars have a visual reminder to look in the back when you place the car seat. Oh, really? Oh, that's perfect. What kind of new cars is that? That's a Fandango car. Well, I'm not going to have any more kids, but I like that. That's a great idea. Yes, modern technology can help. But you know, most people in the world is not going to get that kind of car for another 25 years. That technology should be standard. Makes so much sense. There's so much that tech can do. Ford Explorer has it. Really? An American company came up with that first? I would have thought that would have been the Germans, but good for them. I like it. Yeah, because sometimes they just fall asleep and they go so quiet. One thing with my daughter, she falls asleep when you're driving, but as soon as you stop, she's like, where are you going? Why are you leaving me? She does not like to be left alone. She's got that only child syndrome where she's like, oh no, I need to be in your company. Sometimes I get home. Yesterday is an example. She has swimming lessons on Wednesday. So it tends to wear out. My goodness, can I tell you, her swimming's actually getting pretty good. Now she's going under the water and she's diving, and you know, the swimming instructor is letting her go for a little bit. And she's kind of like swimming towards her. She's got to remember to go under and breathe. And so she's getting much more comfortable with the water, and she's like, I'm learning how to swim. Like finally she's getting like all the exercises for months was leading up to like this kind of progression, right? But like clockwork, after swimming, she's going to fall asleep in the car because she's just like done for. So she has yoga on, I think her school does yoga on Tuesdays. And then so Wednesdays, you know, she's already outside in the garden. She loves to be digging in the garden or whatever at school. And then when I pick her up a little bit early for swimming, it really puckers her out. And she has 0 body fat. So I'm still looking for insulated swim attire because she is literally, and yesterday she was so cold, like she was shuddering in the pool. Like she can't stay in for very long because she gets very, very cold. So she fell asleep. I get home and, you know, I start to unload stuff. Now, maybe it's different with women because I find like I always have a briefcase, a handbag, groceries. Like I'm always unloading stuff. So for me, I'm like, the baby is another thing to unload. Like, how could I forget the baby? Because I feel like I always have to go in the back seat anyway. But maybe for some people, you know, they're in the front, they grab a coffee and they just walk right out. If that's been their routine for umpteenth years, I'm the bag lady, child. I always got a bunch of stuff that I'm grabbing and going with. So I open the door and I got to make more than one trip. So I tend to take in, like if I have food in my hand, I take that stuff first, drop it inside by the door, and then I'll make another trip to take it in the kitchen or whatever. And I go back to her, but geez, in peace, those 2 seconds, she wakes up. She's like, where did you go? You were leaving me. I was like, no, I wasn't. I left the door open. I'm like right here. I'm just unpacking the car, but she's very hyper alert to, you know, to the possibility that you might be leaving her in the car. So forgotten baby syndrome is actually a thing. I'm going to see if I can find that, that 60-minute special, because it was a real eye opener on how it happens.
There are very few words.
You know, there's an Australian special on it, but this wasn't the one that I saw. But anyway, I'll find it and I'll post it up later on. All right, folks, let's keep it moving. We talked about Cayman Airways getting a new 737-8. Congratulations. This is the 4th one in the fleet. Hopefully this alleviates, you know, issues like delays and that sort of thing. I think this also means that new routes, as Blake was saying, can be added back. Denver, Colorado, and I don't know where else we want to go. Longer routes, super efficient plane. So all the best on that venture. It comes in this afternoon, folks, I think after 3 o'clock. So keep an eye out. Let's talk a little bit about some court news. Yes, honey child. Well, thieves have been held to account. Thank the Lord for that. So you guys remember these young folks? What are their names again? Let me get their photo up for you. They were up to no good, child. Here we are. Drake. Let me look up the names now, because of course, when y'all decide to name your children, you'll be giving them the most unusual and memorable names. These are the Kamana-based shoplifters. So we have Drakenberg Levy, Jessica Ebanks, and Whitney Powell. Stole over $1,500 in merchandise from, I think it's multiple stores in Cayman Bay. I think it was the Polo store and the MKY store, if my memory serves me correctly. So these thieves, 2 of them were 19 years old at the time, Whitney and Drakenberg. And Jessica is a little bit older. And which one is Jessica? Is she the one on the top right or the bottom? I don't even know. But Jessica's a little bit older. And she is a common thief, a habitual thief, in fact. So, yes. Here, Jessica, listen to this. She actually pled guilty because she's such a seasoned thief. She knew better than to go to trial. So she pled guilty early to get that little consideration. Conspiracy to commit theft. She was given 3 months imprisonment, suspended for 2 years. And they all have to pay compensation. So they split the amount stolen between them all, or face 4 months imprisonment if they don't pay it. Jessica Ebanks actually has upwards of 8 previous convictions for theft. It's time for this girl to go to jail. Seriously. But she is a 10-year-old. Please send her to jail, somebody. She's not learning her lesson. 8 previous convictions? And she was actually on bail at the time of committing this one. Now, here's the kicker. Both Jessica and Whitney, take a wild guess what they do for a living. Where do they work? They actually have jobs. This is the best part of it, is they have jobs. I don't know if they still got them, but they have jobs. Michael says he had friends that forgot their child at the pub. Oh my God. Lord have mercy. No. Irvin says he had a lot going on. Yeah, most of the time your mind is somewhere else. For sure. Take a wild guess. Any guesses as to where they work? Well, they're cashiers at local grocery stores. They work at different grocery stores. What a mess. Now, this is somebody I probably wouldn't put handling the cash. Especially Jessica. She's proven herself time and time again to be a thief. She soon find a way to steal from the grocery store, to attempt to steal. No, sir. What a mess, I tell you. You cannot make this stuff up. Really and truly. So the other two got community service. So 120 hours of community service, compensation orders, and probation order for 24 months. So they need to be on their best behavior. And if they're not, they're going to get in trouble. So we'll keep an eye on the situation. We'll let you guys know how this works out for them. Now, the last time, one is Foster's and one is Hurley's, child. Now, the last time that we talked about these young people, the mother of, I don't know which one, decided to call me. I'm going to forewarn her today to please don't waste your credit. Do not pick up the phone and call me today, because when we reported last time that they were convicted, she was so confused about what a conviction meant. When you got children that want to be criminals, you better learn real fast what these terms mean. She called me and said, oh, you need to fix your story. You need to correct it because they haven't been sentenced. I said, the article says they were convicted. What does that have to do with sentencing? Well, they were not convicted. They were not found guilty. I said, really? So if they weren't found guilty, why would they be having a sentencing hearing that's coming up in January? I'm like, what? Come again? And this woman like arguing me into the ground. She caught me on a good day, child. I had a lot of patience that day, and somebody was watching me going, girl, I don't know how you do this job. I was like, lady, who do you think probably knows what a conviction means? Somebody who has a law degree and goes to court all the time versus you who just happened to have raised a little wannabe criminal. And me reading the court files, having access to the information, sitting there watching stuff. I'm going to not know somebody was convicted. I was like, woman, think about what you're saying and stop making yourself look stupid. I know these are your children, or this is your child. I can't remember whom mama she is. And then she's like, oh yeah. And they're related to you, by the way. And I said, I don't care. You're telling me this common thief. I want to say it was Drakenberg Levy. Oh yeah, there's some kind of family to you. Do I look like I care, honey child? I don't know him. He's not that close of a relative. And even if he was my nephew, I would still be reporting on him same way. And you can ask my nieces and nephews because they know. I don't care. I'm in the business of reporting news. So I don't care who you are. Okay? Okay. So don't be wasting don't call me this time because I might not be as nice about it. In other court news, now I wish I had a photo of this guy. Tony O'Connell Ebanks, found guilty of child indecent assault. Justice St. John Stevens found the 50-year-old had done what the near toddler accused him of doing. Now, y'all child molesters think that because young children might not fully understand what you were doing to them, that they don't know that it's wrong. Well, it turns out this child knew and told her mom what happened. Police were called. And I'm understanding that this guy, whoever he is, from West Bay, it seems like, that he actually is a habitual offender. I'm hearing stories about him like, oh yeah, this is not the first rodeo with him touching people, children, want to rape people, children, all kind of stuff. And I'm not surprised by that because I keep telling you guys, normally by the time someone is caught, they have done it numerous times before. Now, just because it hasn't been reported to you doesn't mean that it didn't happen. So the witness, the little girl took the stand, 6 years old, took the stand and said what had happened. He doesn't take the stand in his own defense because I guess he had nothing to say for his lewd and disgusting behavior. The trial literally lasted a day last week. And so he's going to jail. He's already in custody. I hope they really throw the book at him. Anybody got a picture of Tony O'Connell Ebanks? Let me have it. We will gladly put him all over. Real sickos. There's another story that we're working on. I'm not going to talk about it yet because I'm trying to get the person's full name. And, it's only a matter of time. But it's one of those examples of when people lie to me. Like, I don't know why people like to. First of all, I'm the wrong person to lie to because I actually have a very good intuitive sense of when I'm being lied to. And I feel like since I've been doing this job, that intuitive sense has gotten even better. And so there was a situation early in the week involving some folks, and I was sitting there going, this person's lying to me. I just know it. And I've since gotten confirmation. And so they'll be in the news soon enough for their lies. And then, they'll want to look like a hero, I suppose. But I'm working on the story. And, when you take responsibility for something, you should really do your best to not lie, not, like if you have made a poor choice, right? This is a thing. Just deal with it. And dealing with it means that you should admit to what you've done wrong. That's part of the process. You can't claim that you want to do the right thing and fix the situation if you are then in turn lying about it. Ay. What a hot mess. All right. Happy birthday to Speaker McKeeva Bush. Today is his birthday. How old is he now? 67 or so? We wish him the best. Oh, we got a 92-year-old. Granny Ruby here in Newlands, Lower Valley area, turns 92. Wow. Bless her little heart. She looks good. Still mobile and getting around. That would be Sue Walton and Sheena's grandmother. Yeah, man, she's looking good. Oh, my sweet. She looks really good for 92. So happy birthday to her as well. All right. Let me just see if there's anything else, folks. We got a press conference today, 3:00. We'll do the usual live streaming. I suspect that some of you will get some good news. Listen, people are very polarized on this, right? There are people who are like, shut down the borders, don't open up. And then there are other people, and I don't know what percentage it is, who are kind of like, no, we need to open the borders. Enough of this. Why do you guys keep shutting us down? I think I've talked about this zero COVID policy thing for a minute now. It simply doesn't work. It's not a solution. So, it is what it is, really. So I think phase 5 is coming. What format is it going to be in exactly? I don't know, but it's definitely coming, right? This Czech Republic singer, what a hot mess. I was mentioning this if you were listening to the news on 106. So she decides that she is going to catch COVID on purpose. Everybody else trying to avoid COVID like the plague, but some of y'all want to catch COVID on purpose. So here she is. So her husband and son got it, both vaccinated. She's unvaccinated, and she thinks that this is a joke. So they have an option apparently in the Czech Republic that you can either be vaccinated, or if you're unvaccinated, you can get a health card or health certificate. And I've heard a lot of people asking, oh, when is Cayman going to allow this to happen? You see, this is where you encourage people to do stupid things. If you catch it naturally and you survive, well, I guess that's fine. But there will be people who go, oh, proof of vaccination or recent infection from the virus is required. Well, that sounds like a good idea. That's what they think. And so they'll go out there and catch the virus. Well, folks, this virus is not playing with you. And there's something I want to show you guys here, actually, that I was watching last night on Facebook. Let me just extract the video, and then I'm going to get it here for you in a second. So for those of you who believe, that COVID is a joke and you can get it and not have to worry about the real implications, aka dying, you're not playing with a full deck, my friend. I'll just get natural immunity. That sounds all fine and dandy until you end up 6 feet under. And then it's no longer fine and dandy. Yes, that's what happens. So this poor woman made a bad choice. She decides to catch it on purpose from her son, Jean-Rec, and his father. They got it over Christmas. She decides, well, I'm not going to stay away. I'm actually going to expose myself to the virus. Let's hang out with them and try to get it. Because then, as a folk singer, I can go and play in different venues. Her family said she should have isolated for a week because we tested positive, but she was with us the whole time. 2 days before she died, she reportedly wrote on social media that she was recovering. Now there will be, this is what she said, now there will be theater, sauna, a concert. That's what she was looking for. Well, I don't know if she's going to heaven or hell, but maybe they have theaters, saunas, and concerts in those locations. I don't know. So she has died. She said she was feeling better and she dressed to go for a walk. Then her back started hurting. And she went to lie down in her bedroom. Respiratory. In 10 minutes, it was all over, her son said. She choked to death. Oh, damn. She didn't go to the hospital? She died at home. He said his mother's philosophy was that she's more okay with the idea of catching COVID than getting vaccinated. Not that we would get microchipped or anything like that. So she didn't believe in some of the crazier conspiracies, but she was okay with the idea of catching COVID instead of getting vaccinated. Well, glad you felt okay about it, because now you paid with your life. Her son is saying he wants to convince others to get vaccinated by telling the story. He says, if you have living examples from real life, it's more powerful than just graphs and numbers. You can't really sympathize with numbers. Sad. 57. I mean, I don't know. She doesn't necessarily look like she had any comorbidities. You know, she probably could have lived another 30 years. Now she's going to miss out on grandchildren and weddings and family events. And, you know, it boggles my mind. It sounds crazy to me that people continue to play around with this virus like it's something to joke about. No, TD. I want to share a video with y'all before we end the program today. Very, very sad. Let's read some of your comments. I can't imagine leaving a young child in the back seat, says Larry. When my daughter was that young, she was my number one focus. Her life and health and safety was my responsibility. Yeah. I mean, I don't think that the majority of people do it on purpose. John says I need to cut his balls off. We wish it was that easy. Jamelia, thank you, says no remorse when he was found guilty. Real sick. Yeah, I'm looking for his photo because he's one that needs to be in that sex offender registry for sure. All right. Someone in WhatsApp has said, sad, but Darwin was right. Have a look at this, folks.
And I'm not getting better yet. Please pray for me. Hello all. Today I have a fever that I can't get rid of. But I am resting comfortably in my bed. I'm not going to the ER. I'm going to manage my symptoms at home. Day 2. Boy, do I feel like crap. Back pain, fever that won't break. And then when it does break, it's just a very uncomfortable feeling. Day 3 of this wonderful virus. I hear day 9 is worse. I'm just happy to be okay for now. Day 4, 3:30 a.m. Oh my God, this is no joke. I am so uncomfortable. My fever just broke, so I'm a little bit better. 9:20, and I still have not seen a nurse or a nurse practitioner. I called them for pain meds, and I called to speak to my nurse practitioner, and I still have not seen or heard from anyone except the tech. I don't even know what day this is, but I feel horrible. Like so bad, like almost like I'm not gonna make it. Please, God, help me. I'm not sure what day this is. I think it's Saturday. Yes, it's Saturday at 9:15 at night. Today is not a good day. I can't even move without being short of breath. Just pray that I'm okay. Not sure what day it is. But I'm not getting better yet. Please pray for me.
very, very sad situation, folks. COVID is no joke. It is nothing to play around with. Some of you are like, oh, I caught it already. You might have had Delta. If you haven't had Omicron, you have no protection against this. Get your information from proper sources, folks. Do not play around with this, because more and more we're going to find people who are quote unquote healthier, who have fewer comorbidities, who are going to be dying from COVID because they are simply not listening to the science. It's senseless, right? To know that we can save lives, and we would rather be, like this folk singer at 57 dead when you had your entire life ahead of you. Why? Folks, tune in at 3:00. We have a press conference. We will be hearing from the government in terms of what's up next. How do we move forward to phase 5? And I want y'all to be safe. Today is Thursday, January the 20th. Please have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys again at 3:00. And of course, we'll have the evening news queued up for you around 9:00, and then we're back here tomorrow morning. Until then, be safe.
Thank you for tuning in to another edition of The Cold Hard Truth. Make sure to check Facebook for showtimes and more information and the latest news at CaymanMarlRoad.com. Subscribe to our IG and Facebook pages to get the latest happenings.